And we'll give folks a couple minutes to join us.
Morning, everybody. What's up, Ms. Gregory?
All right, Ms. Gregory, if you are ready, we will begin. Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Principal Veronica Gregory.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I would like to introduce my teammates that are here with me today. Mrs. Fidelina Sasso, she's our Assistant Superintendent. And we have Mrs. Laura Urias, she's our School Counselor. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to be going over our school demographics. We identified a need, sharing our strategy, how we address suspensions, and then leave any time if you have any questions for us. So our demographics were, we have in middle school, we had 110 students. 87% of them were socially, economically disadvantaged, with 45% of them being English language learners, and it was grades 6th through 8th. So we really identified our need. Really first, I would say, before looking at kind of the suspension rates, was actually looking inside the classroom. We felt like we were really struggling with implementing behaviors, and we were just really talking about it at like our PLC meetings, at our staff meetings, and it was something that we knew that we really wanted to address because we know that if there's discipline issues, then there's no learning going on in the classroom. So our data was showing that we had a 10%, 9.7%, and then we worked really, really hard. And then we were also working along with SELPA at the time, and we were noticing that we were having also high suspension rates with our students that were receiving special ed services. So in order to address, the strategy we used to address was, first of all, we compiled a team. We put together a team of volunteers. We here at Lost Hills, we have 2 schools, 1 campus. So it was compiled of middle school teachers, classified staff, administrative staff, elementary teachers, middle school teachers, parents, and we formed a tier 1 of the PBIS team. And really dug into, creating our expectations, going on to trainings, doing retreats, and then asking for feedback from the students about how they felt about the expectations, and then creating a system where we use the TFI, the FIA, and the CASEL for annual assessments to measure our effectiveness and how we're implementing it. We have an annual retreat that we build an action plan based on 1 or the 2 FIA features. So we meet every 2 weeks with our tier 1. So our PBIS team meets every other week. You saw in the video that we had our shirts. So we usually wear our shirts on that day so that people understand that, like, hey, we're having a PBIS meeting today. Let students know also. And then once a month, we meet with our tier 2. So that we call it our student support team, or our SEL team also at the same time. And we go over clear agendas, next steps items. And we use, currently we're using the PBIS rewards and the Swiss data for our data management. We collaborate also with multiple organizations, including College Community Services and the Kern Behavior Health. We were lucky enough to actually have a college community service worker come on to our campus beginning last year, once a day per week. So if there's anything that they need to talk to with the students or address anything, they're right here on that day. We receive coaching support for our agendas, protocols, data use, and general system leadership via CORU strategy group, which has been really helpful because it really organizes our work to help us stay focused and really focus on, addressing items that we come out from the TFA or the FIA. So we really try to improve on something like that, and we really try to stay focused. We have a facilitator, note taker, we have a timekeeper, and our next stepper. And our job is to actually go out and make sure that we have completed our task before we come back. In our PBIS team, we've actually divided the team because it's probably about a team of 12 of us. I would say no more than 12, but within the team, we've divided the team. So then we just focus on PBIS strategies that 3 to 4 team members can actually focus on, because we felt like some of us were getting a little bit more tasks than others. And here we created a system where the team actually works on the task. We also combined our work with SELPA and our SEA plan at the time with the PBIS action plan. And so that's been really great because the county office has come in and has really joined us to stay focused on that. We have also a community school model. We operate since 2018. It's governed by the Children's Cabinet of the West Kern, and it is structured with 5 pipelines. So with that, we have the early childhood engagement, expanded learning, math education, family and community school engagement, and social and health services. It's organized by the MTSS and PBIS principals, and it is funded by the Federal Full Service Community Grant and School Climate Transformation Grant. We pulled the LCAP fundings across multiple districts and state and California community school programs. The backbone and improvement and support is by Figueroa Consulting, and it is actually evaluated by the West Ed. And they are actually West Ed comes and they're also team members on some of our community school coordinators, I would say like a PLC. And so they join us and then they create stuff and they really help us out. We have one community school coordinator per school site. We have 1 social worker. We also have a AmeriCorps mentor per school site. And we partnered with multiple school districts with the West Kern Consortium. We also provide a Prepare You for 8th grade, partners with the Kern County Behavior Health and Recovery Services to implement Prepare You curriculum for our 8th grade students. We first piloted the project to help students think through their feelings and build important life skills based on a number of topics. And now we've implemented, I believe this will be our 3rd year, and 2 teachers have been trained and certificated. We actually use an external and internal behavior rated by our teachers at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. We follow the same pattern with our literacy and our mathematics. So we call it the BOY, MOY, and EOY, where we actually help the teachers rate the students on how they're feeling maybe emotionally, because sometimes maybe if they're not acting out, they kind of fall through the cracks. So we're really looking for students that are maybe lonely, quiet, withdrawn. And our school counselor actually goes through this data and then sees if the students need services. Because sometimes students could just be really quiet in the classroom and they're not acting out, but at the same time, they might also need that support. So we administer this SRSS 3 times a year. And we've linked the video for student risk screening. And we put the little time on there. If you would like to know more about it, you could watch the video. We recommend from 9:45 to the 16:12. And that's it. All of our hard work. So if we have any questions.
So Veronica, I don't see questions in the chat, but certainly if you guys have them, feel free to drop them in or you guys can unmute. I did have one question, Veronica, on the screener tool that you just shared. Is that a universal screener that gets administered to every student 3 times a year? Or is it just to maybe students that are on that tier 2 or tier 3 category?
I'll let Mrs. Urias answer that. Go ahead, Ms. Urias.
So we picked the screener because it's very easy for teachers to do. They can do the whole class in like 10 minutes. It has different areas of internalizing behaviors and externalizing. So usually we see externalizing disruptions, things like that, but sometimes there's behaviors that are internal. So that based on the scale, it helps us see like, hey, maybe we need to check up on this student or something's going on. But it is administered to every single student. We have also our preschool. We also make the preschool teachers participate. And sometimes sometimes because of the age, some behaviors are going to happen, but that also helps us check in with those students and say, hey, did something at home change? Or are they just getting used to being in school for their first time? So 3 times a year to every single student.
We kind of found that it's more important if we conduct it like at a faculty meeting, just so that we can make sure that we get the data and that it is, that we get the data, because we could see at times that, if we assign it and then it doesn't get done. So we just really carve out time now during our PDs and say, hey, this is really important to us. We really need this information. So we've been able to do that, implement that.
Great, thank you guys so much. It looks like we're getting ready to close out. So I wanna make sure if there's any other questions, and then also making sure that you guys, if you wanna put your contact information in the chat, if folks want some more information or if they wanna reach out, if you guys wanna drop that in there, that would be great.
Well done, Lost Hills. You're killing it. Good job.
I was going to say the same thing. And I do like that the screener that you guys are looking at internalizing behaviors, because those are usually the kids that we miss. And any student suicides that you see throughout the country, it's because they're internalizing behaviors. So I'm glad that you guys are paying attention to that. So again, awesome work, Ms. Gregory, and all of you guys.
Hello.
Hello. I wasn't able to get access. It wasn't asking for me to make a copy, just request access.
I have access. Hannah, do you want me to share my screen and maybe we can just do it together?
Yeah, that would be great.
So let me put this in the chat. I wonder if you can access mine. Okay, let me know if that works.
No. That's okay. We could just look at the shared. I don't know, is that working for the other people? Allison, Miguel, are you able to access it?
No, I can't access it. I could just see the screen that's being shared right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do this one together then. This will be collaborative. And we have Hilda here, which is great because I am not a math person. So Hilda, give us the right answer. So do you guys want to share what you guys came up with and kind of why?
Well, I looked at, there's 365 days, and if they're crossing the ice once, that's 365 times, but then Saturday twice. So then you have to add, there's 52 Saturdays in a year. So another 52. So 365 plus 52 would be 417.
Yeah, I came up with 417 too.
Anybody have anything different?
Initially, I hadn't read it carefully, and I just did 365, and then I took half of it, thinking, twice, and so now I realized I needed to read it carefully, and I think that's, just kind of illustrates what a lot of our students do too, right? They just quickly go look at it once and then think they have the right answer, but you have to kind of go back and check your work and read it carefully, because it's so tied to the literacy and understanding what you're reading. And so like that first go through, I quickly came up with a thing, but it was wrong because I wasn't reading it carefully. And so just, I love this because it really highlights the importance of the language in math that I don't think we spend enough time on during math, talking about that. And really that's really how math manifests itself in real life, is through language. And so I think this is a great activity.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that. So I came up with a different answer. And so what I did is I did 52 times 6. And then I did 52 times 2 for the Saturdays. And I came up with 416. So somewhere in the ballpark, but I saw everybody was coming up with 417. I'm like, how did they get there?
Well, right, I think you both are correct, right? Because it's not exactly 365 days. It's not exactly 52 Saturdays, right? It's a little, so it makes sense. So the answer would be 416, 417, depending on the year, right? And then you have, if it's a leap year, then that's another thing, right? So,
I was thinking the same thing, just like, where does it start, right? Where does the year start? And then that would impact just slightly. And then does he work every day? Did they give that did he give that information?
It says every day. It says he crosses the ice once every day. So that does mean then, yes.
He works on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
And then my question would be like, if he crosses each day to deliver the mail, how does he come back to get his mail?
That's a great question.
It's like,
because it says he crosses the ice once every day. So yeah.
So maybe the next day, so he crosses to deliver, but then he picks up the mail from here and comes back.
So maybe they're not getting mail every day. It's every other day, because the other day he's going back to get the mail.
I like that. So if you guys get a chance to share, I would say that.
Yeah.
Like we're putting our own
story
together.
That would solve that, right? So they're getting the mail every other day, because every other day he's going back to get the mail. Since he's only crossing it once.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting ready to close in a minute, but what a great activity. Thank you, Hilda.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Yes, you're welcome. It's always fun to do some math.